The massacre is front page stories across the country. The headline in the Desert Sun in Palm Springs, California reads, "Horror at a Texas School." The San Francisco Chronicle says to pray for the lost, their families, and Uvalde. And in Las Vegas, the Review-Journal's headline is 19 kids gone. Georgia's Atlanta Journal-Constitution elementary school horror. In Florida, the Miami Herald calls it another unbearable toll. In Connecticut, nearly a decade after the nation's deadliest school shooting in Newtown, the Connecticut Post says enough is enough. Michigan's Grand Rapids Press headline reads, as shootings mount, so does the anger that it's happening over and over. And back in Texas, about 6 hours northeast of Uvalde, the headline from the Dallas Morning News has won again.
President Biden was on board Air Force One returning home from his trip to Asia when the massacre in Uvalde happened. Shortly after returning to the White House, he addressed the nation asking, "Where in God's name is our backbone?" calling on lawmakers to stand up to the NRA. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Kristen Welker is at the White House with more. Kristen?
Willie, good morning on this grim day here at the White House and for our nation and in Texas, certainly. President Biden spoke overnight in what was the most emotional remarks that I have heard him make, and frankly, the angriest. And as you say, he did call on lawmakers to get a backbone, to do something about gun violence. He talked about the suffocation that you feel as a parent when you lose a child. Of course, he has lost 2 children, and he called for something to change. Take a listen.
What struck me was these kinds of mass shootings rarely happen anywhere else in the world. Why? They have mental health problems. They have domestic disputes in other countries. They have people who are lost. But these kinds of mass shootings never happen with the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why? Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen? Where in God's name is our backbone to have the courage to deal with it and stand up to the lobbies? It's time to turn this pain into action for every parent, for every citizen in this country. We have to make it clear to every elected official in this country, it's time to act.
It was just 1 week ago that President Biden and the First Lady visited that Buffalo community that was ravaged by gun violence. 10 people gunned down there in a crime that is being called a racist attack against the predominantly black community. And while the president was visiting that scene, he called on Congress to renew its ban on assault weapons. There's almost no support for that in Congress. Now, it is worth noting that President Biden was vice president during former President Obama's administration when the Sandy Hook massacre happened. He was put in charge of trying to address this. And in that instance, Congress came close to passing expanded background checks, something that more than 80% of Americans support, but it fell short. Former President Obama, speaking from the White House at that day, said, all in all, it's a pretty shameful day for Washington. Here we are yet again with those familiar debates now being revived. Senator Chris Murphy overnight, Democrat from Connecticut, who, of course, represents the people of Sandy Hook, pleading with his colleagues to get something done. Republicans, including Senator Ted Cruz, reacting overnight as well, saying that the solution is not more gun reform, but rather to put more resources into law enforcement. So we're going to see this debate get revived. The question is, will anything be different now? We are again talking about the nation's children. Senator Chuck Schumer is trying to move forward on 2 House-backed bills that would expand background checks, but it is hard to see that those would pass easily, a real uphill battle. So again, this all too familiar debate unfolding here in Washington yet again, as this nation is in mourning yet again. Joe?
All right. Thank you so much, Kristen. We greatly appreciate it. A couple more newspaper headlines. Wall Street Journal, gunman kills 19 at school. New York Times, at least 18 killed at school. As I heard Willie talking, Rev, too, Kerry Sanders, I just the echoes of Sandy Hook are just so clear. The parallels. A disturbed kid shoots a family member and then goes on a rampage at school. And this just keeps happening. And I mean, these Republicans, they're going to come up with 1,000 different excuses on why we shouldn't do anything. And, put more money into law enforcement. Well, hey, you know what? We've talked about that a lot. I'm all for that. Don't defund the police, fund the police. But what have we seen the last 2 weeks? We've had security guards. We've had police officers. We've had people at this scene. And they come in with military-style weapons that are more potent than the weapons we gave our soldiers during Vietnam. And they try to stop the gunmen, and they can't do it because they've got body armor, because they've got these weapons of war. I'm not exactly sure. Are we supposed to put tanks outside of our schools? Sit a resource officer inside a tank? I mean, again, the stupidity, the race to the bottom, it continues here. Anything to stop having a reasonable, rational debate and reminding voters that 90% of Americans support universal background checks. And no, maybe that doesn't start, or maybe that doesn't stop every killing, but it certainly starts the United States of America in the right direction, in the right path to keep guns out of the hands of killers.
That is absolutely right. And I think that in this midterm election year, this has got to be one of the central, if not the central issues, is gun control. What are we going to do about gun control? We cannot continue to go from a Buffalo to a Texas shooting within 2 weeks. I mean, the president and the first lady 2 weeks ago in Buffalo, what are they supposed to just stay on tour around mass shootings? This is how much we are normalizing this to where we can almost say, oh, we know there's going to be another one. The electorate needs to vote out people that will not move. This ought to be the immovable central issue here, because clearly putting more money into law enforcement means nothing. As you said, there was a former police officer in the supermarket, top supermarket in Buffalo. There was law enforcement on the grounds at the school. They were outgunned. As long as you allow people to buy military weapons, putting law enforcement there is only adding them to the casualties, not trying to stop the casualties from happening.
Well, and Rev, as you know better than anybody, these horrible stories of these mass shootings in schools, in churches, in synagogues, at country music festivals, in grocery stores. That's what grabs all the headlines. That's what everybody reports about. But it's the death tolls week in and week out. You can look at Chicago headlines about gun deaths over the past decade, and it's just horrible. It keeps getting worse. Other big cities, the same thing. And that's why, it's such a small percentage of those weapons that are used in homicides are used by people who actually bought the weapon from a gun shop. And that's why universal background checks, expanding it, putting real teeth into to a law that expands universal background checks that will help gun shop owners know that when they're selling a gun to somebody, they're not going to just turn around and give it to a criminal who's going to go out and kill a 2-year-old in a gang war.